Hello everyone, in this session we will take a look at the answer key and explanation for geography questions that were asked as part of your 2018 Prelims examination. So the first question is related with Barren Island. It's a 3-statement question. Barren Island is the only active volcano in South Asian region and it had erupted in 2016, and for that reason we were expecting a question related with Barren Island and we had done a video on the Barren Island. So here the first statement, the Barren Island volcano is an active volcano located in the Indian territory, which is true, right? And going through the options, we could eliminate B as well as C, and what left is A and D, right? Now, the second statement, Barren Island lies about 140 km east of Great Nicobar. Anyway, the second statement is not influencing your answer here, right? But anyway, it lies not towards the east of Great Nicobar rather than towards the Andaman. Okay. And the third one, the last time the Barren Island volcano erupted was in 1991 and it has remained inactive since then, right? The first statement and the third statement, they are actually contradicting each other. We had eruptions in the recent past too in the Barren Island regions, right? So anyway, here the answer comes out as A, which is 1 only. Now another question is related with towns sometimes mentioned in news and country. Right, and here in this question, the Aleppo and Mosul were actually asked as part of our PMD questions. So, anyway, the idea behind such questions is that all those regions which are in news, you can expect questions for your prelims examination, and this question is a proof for this strategy, right? Anyway, Aleppo, we all know that it's related with Syria, right? So it should be having 1 in it, and we can eliminate C as well as D. And it all depends on 2 and 4, right? Or either, either 4, if 4 is correct, answer would be B, and if 2 is correct, answer would be A, right? Anyway, the Kirkuk is in Iraq as well as Mosul is in Iraq, right? So the third statement cannot be true, or the second statement is also false, right? And answer here comes out as B, which is 1 and 4. Mosar-i-Sharif is in Pakistan, Aleppo is in Syria, right? So here answer comes out as B, which is 1 and 4. And the next question, it's related with, say, the Earth and universe, the evolution of the Earth and universe, things like that. Anyway, the first statement, Earth's magnetic field has reversed every few 100,000 years. This topic, right, this is called as pole shifting. And we had covered it through our classroom sessions, in the sense the pole shifting is being increased because of the climate change. The climate change is influencing or resulting in the melting of the ice caps, and it is changing the Earth's rotation, in turn increasing the rate of the pole shifting, right? So the first statement is anyway true, and second one, when the Earth was created more than 4,000 billion years ago, there was 54% oxygen and no carbon dioxide, right? And going through the third statement, when the living organisms originated, they modified early atmosphere of the Earth, right? So we have covered this, the second statement and third statement, one through a classroom session and second one through one of our videos I have done explaining the evolution of present atmosphere. So in the case of evolution of the present atmosphere, 3 things actually influence the present atmosphere. One, the solar wind, and the second one, degassing, and the third one, the photosynthesis by the living organisms. So in the initial atmosphere, we didn't have free oxygen molecules. Rather than it was mainly made up of hydrogen and helium. So if you could apply that knowledge, you'll understand that the second statement is wrong, because here it's given as 54% oxygen, which is wrong. And the third one, when the living organism originated, they modified the early atmosphere of the Earth, which is true, right? Mainly through the photosynthesis, they started producing free oxygen, they started absorbing the carbon dioxide and emitting back the oxygen, right? So anyway, here answer comes out as C, which is 1 and 3 only, right? The second statement here is wrong. Now, another indirect question from one of the videos, I had done a video on the gravitational waves, which was in news, and we all know that the gravitational waves, the discovery of the gravitational waves came out after 100 years of general theory of relativity. So here we are having a question related with general theory of relativity. So consider the following phenomena. Which of the above is or are the prediction of predictions Albert Einstein's general theory of relativity often discussed in media? Right? So this question is not regarding whether the statement is true, rather than it's regarding which of these statements are the predictions of general theory of relativity. And all of these statements, they're given in a very simple manner, which is often discussed in the news. Okay. Anyway, first one, light is affected by gravity, which is true, right? We have seen that the black hole, like, the black hole, like I told you, like in some of the video, like an expert questions on black hole, and like black hole can actually, like, disturb the space-time fabric, and the black hole was actually predicted through the general theory of relativity, and it showed that the light coming from far off distances will be affected by the in-between stars or black holes or any objects which can apply gravity, right? So light can actually bend under the influence of gravity. The first statement is true, right? Now the second one, the universe is constantly expanding. Right? The statement as such is true. I mean, this theory is called as Big Bang theory, and as of now, we believe that the universe evolved mainly through the Big Bang theory, right? We are having certain evidences like redshift phenomena and other evidences in support of like the Big Bang theory, right? It says like everything, every matter, mass, everything was constituted in one single point at the starting of the universe, and it started expanding all of a sudden, right? But if you go through the question is actually which of the predictions of general theory of relativity, right? Albert Einstein, and the second statement was not there in the general theory of relativity. Rather, like the Albert Einstein in his initial phases told us, like, there is a cosmological constant ruling out the process of, or ruling out the chance of expanding universe, right? And later on, when Hubble, another scientist who discovered the expanding universe, like, Albert Einstein corrected himself and said, and called this cosmological constant as the greatest blunder he has made, right? So that clearly means, like, and this statement, this explanation is taken from the NASA's website itself, and that clearly means the Albert Einstein's, the general theory of relativity didn't predict the, he didn't predict the expanding universe through his general theory of relativity. Rather, he came out with another thing, which is calling the universe as static, and he told there's a cosmological constant, which he himself called as his greatest blunder, right? Anyway, here for that reason you can eliminate the second statement. It is not part of, or it is not part of the Albert Einstein's prediction on general theory of relativity, right? And the third one, matter warps its surrounding space-time, which is true, right? The black hole, we have seen that the black hole, even the light won't be escaping the vicinity of a black hole. And the previous year, in 2017, we had a question related with black hole, and the matter actually gets warps around the, around the black hole. And here matter in the sense that can be black hole, right? So in space near to the black hole, the space and time fabric can warp around, right? And here the first statement as well as the third statement are clearly answerable with the video on gravitational waves. And if you ask me why this question came, because of the gravitational waves was in news. So the general trend they are following here, like a current affair term or current affair concept which is in news, they are not directly asking related with that current affair, rather than they are asking related with the surrounding areas of that current affair, right? So anyway, here the answer comes out as C, 1 and 3. It's not 1, 2, 3 because the second one is not a prediction under Albert Einstein's general theory of relativity. But anyway, you should understand that now if you're looking at general theory of relativity and the Big Bang theory, right, they are going well together, right? But initially the Albert Einstein's, it wasn't part of Albert Einstein's prediction on general theory of relativity. Anyway, answer here comes out as C, which is 1 and 3 only. Now moving on to the next question, which one of the following is an artificial lake? And here answer comes out as the Kodaikanal, right? The Kodaikanal lake, which is a tourist spot in Tamil Nadu, is is an artificial lake. None of the other is an artificial lake here, right? Now the next question, which of the following is or are the possible consequences of heavy sand mining in riverbed? So the question is regarding heavy sand mining in riverbed. In the sense, we will be mining the sand from the riverbed. Riverbed means the bottom areas of the river, right? So what happens, if you're mining sand from the riverbed. So the first one, decreased salinity in river. So if you're mining sand from the riverbed, what happens is that this will make it possible for the salt water from the oceans to intrude into the riverbed, making the riverbed more saline, right? So the salinity will actually increase due to the heavy sand mining in riverbed, right? So here it is given as degrees salinity in river, which is wrong, and for that reason we can eliminate one from the options, and here answer comes out as B, which is 2 and 3 only, right? Anyway, going through the second one, pollution of groundwater, which is true in the sense like, if you are not, these sand granules in the riverbed is actually helping the aquifers to filter out the pollutants so that the groundwater won't be contaminated, right? So if you are mining the sand, what happens is that the pollutants will be able to reach deep down into the the groundwater, contaminating the groundwater, right? So the second statement is true. Third one, lowering of the water table, which is again true, right? Water table in the sense the level of the water. So that will be lowering because of the sand mining in the riverbed. Here answer comes out as B, which is 2 and 3 only. Now another question related with climate change, like a momentum of climate change, climate neutral now is an initiative launched by, right? So it's an initiative launched by the UNFCCC's secretariat, and the reason why it was in news, this momentum for change and climate neutral is actually encouraging the individuals, the governments to reduce their carbon footprint or reduce their greenhouse gas emissions. Anyway, answer here comes out as C, which is UNFCCC secretariat, right? Another question related with the climate change, with the reference to Global Alliance for Climate Smart Agriculture, which of the following statement is or are correct? The first one, GACSA is an outcome of the climate summit held in Paris in 2015, which is incorrect, right? The Paris Agreement came into being in COP 2015, which they are mentioning here, the climate summit, and the International Solar Alliance also came into existence in the solar summit, not the GACSA, right? So the first one is wrong, and we can eliminate A as well as D, right? And from that we understand that the second one is correct. Membership of GACA does not create any binding obligation. Going through the option itself, we understood that the second statement is true. What it actually doing is, it is not a legally binding obligation, rather than it's a voluntary, right? And actually there are 3 pillars in GACSA. What they're trying to do is the helping farmers, improving their techniques, and in a way reducing the greenhouse emissions related with the agriculture. That concept we called as climate smart agriculture. Okay. Anyway, the second one is correct, and India was instrumental in the creation of GACSA, which is not correct, right? India is not part of the creation of GACSA, and the answer here comes out as B, which is 2 only. Now another question, among the following cities, which one lies on the longitude close to that of Delhi? Now you might think you need to know the longitude of these places, which is not correct. Okay, so what happens is that if we go through the options, Bengaluru, we can eliminate Pune on the first itself, because the Pune is more towards the western side, and looking at the general political map of India itself, we'll be able to eliminate Pune from the options. Now what left is Bengaluru, Hyderabad and Nagpur. Both Bengaluru, Hyderabad, they're almost in a straight line. There is few differences in the longitudes, in the sense they are not near to the, they're more near to the Delhi regions, right? But if we're looking at the Nagpur, in Maharashtra, it's more towards the eastern side of the Maharashtra, and what happens is that here the answer comes out as C, which is Nagpur, right? And longitude wise, the Nagpur is more closer to the Delhi. Now, very recently, in which of the following countries have lakhs of people either suffered from severe famine or acute malnutrition or died due to starvation caused by war or ethnic conflict? So it's a current affair question, as I told, certain places which are in news, you can expect questions based on that, and this is prime example for that. And here the answer comes out as Yemen and South Sudan. And Yemen, the Saudi Arabia is imposing blockades on Yemen, and still even now the famine is going on in the Yemen. And the UN has said, this will be one of the, if unchecked, right, this would be one of the largest famine in the near history, right? In the recent history. So here answer comes out as D, which is Yemen and South Sudan. Now this question is related with the concept in agriculture which is called as conservation agriculture. So with reference to the circumstances in agriculture, the concept of conservation agriculture assumes significance. Okay, which of the following fall under the conservation agriculture? So the idea is we need to find out which of the ideas given here falls under the conservation agriculture. So mainly what conservation agriculture, in the sense, going through the term itself, conserving. So that means like conserving the land in the sense, or the soil. So we will be doing minimum tillage. We won't be tilling or plowing the land, right? Minimum tillage will be there. There won't be any, mechanized tilling of land. Okay. And what happens is that, like, in order to preserve the organic content of the land, we will be making the crop residues to lie there over the land itself. Right? There are certain other techniques where we take away the crop residues, or we slash and burn culture, or we'll be burning the crop residues, which are improper agriculture practices, right? So if we need to rejuvenate the organic content in this soil, we need to make the crop residue lie there itself, right? So, minimum tillage and the allowing the crop residue to lie there over the land, as well as different crop sequencing or crop rotation, you can say. If mainly we won't be cultivating just one crop, rather than the same land we will be cultivating 2 or 3 different crops, and that we call it as conservation agriculture, right? And going through the options here, we can find that the third one, this is a 5-statement question, right? Rarely we see a 5-statement question. So the 5-statement question, the avoiding the cultivation of plantation crops, which is not actually part of the conservation agriculture. And if you could apply that, we could be able to eliminate from the options, we could be eliminate A, B as well as D, and the answer here comes out as 2, 4 and 5. Okay. Now going through the second statement, adopting minimum tillage, which is true. Now the fourth one, using crop residue to cover soil surface, which is again true. And the fifth one, adopting spatial and temporal crop sequencing and crop patterns. Crop rotation, right? Which is again true, right? And there is a confusion in this question. If you're going through the first statement, avoiding the monoculture practice, this is almost same as that of the crop rotation, right? Crop rotation means we need to cultivate different crop. Okay. And you might think the first statement, it also means the same, avoiding monoculture. Monoculture means cultivating single crop. So this first statement is saying we should be doing crop rotation, and the first statement is saying we should be avoiding monoculture, right? So anyway, we can even sometimes cultivate same crop in the land with the minimum tillage. Sometimes if you're using the plantation crops, we can we can cultivate same crop in the land itself. Okay, and so that reason the first statement won't be there in the answer, and here the answer comes out as C, which is 2, 4 and 5. Okay. Moving on to the next question, this is also related with agriculture, or you can say soil, right? With reference to the agriculture soil, consider the following statement. The first one, a high content of organic matter in soil drastically reduces its water holding capacity, right? So this is saying the high content of organic matter, meaning that we are having high content of organic matter. It's not just the presence of organic matter, rather than we are having high content of organic matter in soil. Drastically, another key word in the statement, right? Drastically reduces its water holding capacity, which is wrong. Actually, if you are having the organic content in the soil, it will be increasing the water holding capacity of soil, right? So the first statement is wrong, and there itself we will be able to get the answer as 3. We will be able to eliminate the one from A, C as well as D, and the answer here comes out as B, which is 3 only. Anyway, going to the second one, soil does not play any role in the sulfur cycle, which is again wrong, right? The sulfur cycle, we are having organic as well as inorganic content of sulfur in the soil, right? And this is a huge part of the sulfur cycle, right? And the third one, irrigation over a period of time can contribute to the salinization of some agricultural land, which we are seeing right now in mostly our northwestern regions, where majority of the land is irrigated. We are finding the salinization of soil as a major concern affecting these regions, right? So here answer comes out as B, which is 3 only. And another question related with agriculture, with the reference to organic farming in India, consider the following statements. National Program for Organic Production is operated under the guidelines and directions of the Union Ministry of Rural Development, right? So whenever whenever you are studying a scheme or a program, you should always look, which ministry is it coming under, and what are their objectives and what are they trying to do. Okay, so here it's not actually under the Union Ministry of Rural Development, rather than it's under the Ministry of Commerce. Okay, so here the first statement is wrong, and we'll be able to eliminate A as well as D, and we'll understand that we need not go through this third statement, right? Sikkim has become India's first fully organic state which is a current affair detail, and it's a correct statement, right? Now the second one, the agriculture and processed food product export development functions as a secretariat for the implementation of NPOP, which is again another true statement. Here answer comes out as B, which is 2 and 3 only. Now moving on to the next question. Which of the following has or have shrunk immensely or dried up in the recent past due to human activities? So this question we have to be really careful, like we have to take a note at the keyword mentioned here. Like they have been given here 3 lakes, and we have to find out which of them have shrunk immensely or dried up, right? Now, so I mean they are stressing too much on the shrunk immensely or dried up, right? So going to the options, Black Sea is definitely not immensely getting dried up or anything. Rather than Aral Sea as well as Lake Baikal is actually shrinking, right? But going through the options, we'll be able to eliminate the Lake Baikal, in the sense Lake Baikal has not shrunk immensely or dried up. Rather than if we take a look at the Aral Sea, like we'll understand that the majority portion of the Aral Sea has already shrunken or dried up, right? And plus, here it's been shrunk immensely or dried up in the recent past due to human activities. So in Lake Baikal also we are having pollution or human activities, impacting the shrinking, but it's not to that much extent, okay? And more than that, where we have to stress the keyword, the keyword in this question is shrunk immensely or dried up, right? So considering that, here the answer would come out as A, which is 1 only, right? Aral Sea has shrunk immensely or dried up in the recent past and due to the human activities also, right? Now moving on to the next question, is related with the resources. In India, the state governments do not have the power to auction non-coal resources, okay? And this was a current affair in actually 2015 and 16. We had an amendment in Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Amendment Act in 2015, and that gives in the auctioning power to the state governments for non-coal mines. Non-coal mines they cannot, they can auction, rather than coal mines they cannot auction by themselves, right? So non-coal mines the state governments can auction, and the first statement is wrong, okay? And for that reason we can eliminate A as well as C, right? Now what left is either 2 only or 3 only. So going to the second statement, Andhra Pradesh and Jharkhand do not have gold mine, okay? So we know that the Karnataka regions and all, we are having the gold mine. Same way, we can say in Andhra Pradesh also, we are having the gold mine, okay? And in Jharkhand, in Jharkhand too, we are having East Singhbum, we are having the gold mine there, right? So anyway, this second statement here, Andhra Pradesh and Jharkhand do not have gold mine, which is wrong, okay? And the third statement, Rajasthan, that itself, right? The second statement being wrong, that itself means the answer is D, which is 3 only, okay? So in third statement, Rajasthan has iron ore mine. Now in this question, in this statement, if you're going through the maps of the iron ore in NCRTs, or say the recent maps and all, we won't be able to see iron ore mines in Rajasthan. Rather than we are having mainly copper and bauxite mines in Rajasthan. But in going through the website of the Rajasthan Mineral Ministry, we'll be able to find that in various districts we are having iron ore deposits in Rajasthan, and in one particular place we are having iron ore mine which is in Bhilwara, right? And that being since we have to eliminate the other statements, here the answer comes out as D, which is 3 only. In Bhilwara in Rajasthan we are having the iron ore mine. Now speaking about the geography questions from this year, we are not having any questions from physical geography climatology or the oceanography. We are not having any questions from those parts. Rather than this year we found more map based questions, especially those regions which are in news, and the political based questions, the map based questions came from the Indian geography also, the longitude, or which one is having the artificial lake, such kind of questions. So the pattern which we should be following is those details which we are finding in news related with geography, right? All those who are writing prelims for next year, make sure you are following thoroughly the places which are in news, and make sure you are maintaining a separate notebook where you are noting down these places in news, right? And you will be clearly getting questions based on the maps. And like, moving on to like, you might think like, we are not having any questions from physical geography, so we won't be studying, we need not be studying the physical geography for the next year. Shouldn't be making that mistake. Maybe the next year they can all of a sudden increase the questions from physical geography, or for this year's mains they will be asking more questions from the physical geography. Like, so many current affairs were in news, like say cyclone Oki, or like the thunderstorms or dust storms, or various other the events were in news, and they didn't ask any question related with that, right? So clearly the current affairs they are asking, they are not related with just 1 year current affair, rather than they are going back to even 1 year or 2 years, right? Even we are able to find like the questions or the current affairs which were in news in 2016, we are having questions in this year's 2018 prelims examination. So make sure you follow the articles as well as you give a thorough reading regarding the current affairs, not only just that year, rather than the previous years too. Okay, and plus for your mains, you should be, since we are not having questions from important current affairs this year, right? You can expect the questions based on that coming for your mains examination in GS1. So all those who have written the the prelims examination, don't be bothered about the result. Start studying your mains, right? Whether you are having less marks or not. Generally, everyone the examination was really tough. So we, don't be bothered about the cutoff or the whatever we had done. Don't waste your time being sad. Rather than this time or not the next time, right? You need to anyway study the mains, right? So without wasting time, start studying your mains examination, and all the very best for your mains preparation.